So something else to have on your radar is something called a data processing agreement. So this is an arrangement where we have someone who's the data controller, which in most cases will be us, Les Mills. We are the controller of that personal data. In that situation, it is us that determines the purpose and the means of processing that personal data. We're then dealing with someone who would be a data processor, and a data processor is someone who has access to, and that's a very broad term in the legislation, access to personal data for the purposes of carrying out processing tasks at the direction of the controller. So this is any third party that you engage to provide a service where they will have access to personal data of our customers. So the access could be viewing it. It doesn't mean they have to be able to change it. It could mean that they're collecting it. It's really, really broad. And where we have these arrangements in place, depending on territory, there's an agreement that is required to be put in place. It's legislated, and it's called a data processing agreement. So then there's even more complexity, because when you're transferring personal data outside the EU about people inside the EU, which is obviously a lot of our people, there can be additional clauses. This is wrapped into one agreement, but it is another step, and will come probably with a few more questions from me if you're looking to do it. So in a nutshell, what this means is that we need to put in place data processing agreements with our vendors. So every time you're signing up a new vendor or renewing an old vendor, think about whether they will have access to personal data. If you're not sure, come and talk to me. And then come and, if this is going to be part of it, then come and talk to me, because we need to put in place a particular agreement around that. Another area to just have on your radar are data breaches. So privacy legislation requires that organisations must report certain data breaches to the applicable data protection agency, and sometimes to the individuals whose data has been breached. A breach covers accidental or unlawful destruction, just loss, alteration, unauthorised disclosure of, or access to personal data. So emailing someone's personal information to the wrong person is technically a data breach in terms of a legal concept. It could be a lost laptop, which doesn't have proper security on it. That could be something that's saved on your desktop instead of an Ignite, for example. Having your email compromised, sending personal data of customers to the wrong person, something very easily done. And then there are some prescribed timeframes in which reporting is required under the legislation. Now, depending on who's involved, whose data it is, and where it's occurred, there is different regulators and different legislation, and therefore different timeframes. So it's quite complex, but what is critical for you to know is that there's some really short deadlines on this in some territories. So if you're concerned about a data breach having occurred, or you think something might be, then please let us know just as quickly as you possibly can, so that we can get involved, help you to manage it, look at how we mitigate it, and then look through any reporting obligations that come off the back of it. Something worth noting is that the data breaches occur all the time. You hear about some of them, you don't hear about most of them, and the majority of them are manual error, right? So we sort of expect it, but we hope that we have the processes in place to manage and mitigate, and that it's not too serious.